Hi, Sagittarius Venus. This is your reading for the month of December 2024, whenever it is that you see this. My name's Podkane, and if you don't know your Venus sign, check out a website like astrocharts.com. You just need your date and place of birth. You don't need to know your time of birth for this one, and you're just looking for your Venus placement. All right, so let's get you an oracle card. This is a relationship reading, so if you're not in a relationship, this could refer to someone you're talking to, or maybe even an ex, but this is definitely designed for relationships. So just switch it up to, switch up the details to how it applies, and like if it's not making sense right in the beginning, it's probably not for you. Sagittarius Venus. Oh. Fated to be alone. No. The way I was just talking about that, and then it's like, no, I'll never find love. You gave up on love because you think you're meant to be alone. It's not true. Maybe this reading is going to go a little bit differently than what I just said. Let's just see. I'm open to it. I'm open to it. It's not true, by the way. Sagittarius Venus. Love reading for right now. I'm recording this on Christmas. I did not get to go see my family or my husband's family because he's sick. So we exchanged our gifts, and now he's asleep getting some rest. So I get to finish these readings. I'm excited about it. I got this from him, like an articulated wooden hand. I guess I just redid my office, and it's like a lot of earth tones and natural stuff. And he also bought me a hoodie that he had custom made, the face of Amber Heard on it, crying, like making that face. I couldn't stop laughing. I don't know why he thought I needed that, but I don't know if I'm gonna be able to wear it in public. All right, Ten of Wands reverse for how you're showing up. It's a burden not worth having. What do you mean? Oh, working on it with the Eight of Pentacles reverse here. Like working on it. It's you feel like you're missing some kind of mastery or knowledge about how to make a relationship work. And this is a breakup. Okay, so we're doing a breakup reading today, you guys. The Three of Swords reversed. All right, well, let's get into it. This should be interesting. What's the issue? What's the issue at hand for Sagittarius Venus? Yeah, it's just hard to move on, move forward. You keep going back into it emotionally, reliving the emotions about it, good and bad. Yeah, and it's definitely setting you off balance. Two of Pentacles reverse, like you can't be at a state of equilibrium with it. Or some days you're like, fuck them, and other days you're like, I miss them so much. Okay, so what did you want out of the relationship? And I'm going to do this like past tense of sort of like, let's clarify what happened so that we can heal and move forward, because that's the issue, right? So what you wanted, the Ace of Cups reverse, that straight up is like expecting things to go wrong. And emotions can be very subconscious, right? So I know you probably didn't think of it as like, I'm self-sabotaging this and I'm gonna blow it up kind of thing, but it on a subconscious level, there was an expectation for heartbreak and depression over it and sadness. Yeah, I think like and the sensitivity, because you're sensitive, you just accepted a situation that wasn't right. I think that you're comfortable with feeling emotionally distraught to the point where you accepted that as a comfortable reality for yourself. You maybe haven't had any good opportunities or many opportunities that you focused a lot on to experienced something that was really emotionally fulfilling. So because things have been, you know, a little sad and depressing, you know, regarding love and relationships in your life, you know, if this relationship showed you more of that, then it was just fine. Three of Wands reversed and the Seven of Wands reversed. Yeah, you weren't looking for something better, and you weren't holding on to a truth like your desires. You weren't putting some energy and effort behind your desires. Like, certainly you desire to have an emotionally fulfilling relationship, you know, in your mental headspace, but you weren't willing to look for it or fight for it at that time. Okay, so what did Sagittarius Venus's person want out of the relationship? Six of Cups, so they wanted something to remind them of something else. So whether that was Queen of Wands on the bottom of the deck. So this could be mommy or daddy issues, but I'm getting more that there was someone, an ex in their past, that they were looking to have that better, or they wanted to relive that or reignite that through you. Just, again, it's subconscious behaviors. I'm sure they weren't just like, well, I can't be with my ex, so I'll pick Sagittarius Venus, and because they have a lot of their same characteristics and it'll all go well. Like, it was also a form of self-sabotage on their part. You were both self-sabotaging, if I may. What were your fears in the relationship? Sagittarius Venus, what were your fears in the relationship? What were your fears in the relationship? King of Swords, Five of Wands reversed. Logically, you felt like you couldn't compete. I also have a King of Wands here in the reversed. Both in the sense of like your mental headspace and how you speak to yourself. It's not really like showing me anxiety that may be at play, but it's more just you have rationalized that you're not good enough, or that you can't compete with other people, or you can't compete to get something better. Therefore, you accepted this situation. And not only did you rationalize that, you strongly you took it on as a part of your identity. You were telling other people how to treat you with the King of Wands, for sure. Like, you're telling other people, you're telling your person, your ex, you know, I can't really do any better than you, whether you said that literally or not. You know, that was the messaging that you were bringing across. And then on an unsaid level, you're giving permission for them to reimagine you as their ex and not really see you for you and accept you for you, because you're saying, well, I don't deserve to be seen as myself. What are they afraid of in the situation? Knight of Wands. Eight of Wands reversed. Six of Wands. King of Wands. Man, this is all fire sign stuff. So passion and belief, ego, personal drives and ambitions. I mean, that's a very good example for the Knight of Wands. It's just someone who's very passionately driven and moves forward towards their ambitions. They're afraid to move towards their ambitions. They're afraid to slow down. They were afraid to show out and celebrate themselves. And they were afraid to come into their own being. They had really... The Eight of Swords on the bottom of the deck. They had really, at this point, when y'all were coming into the relationship or in the relationship together, had really diminished themselves and their ego quite a bit by this point. Now that I'm looking back at this, I'm rethinking your own fears. I might have to go back on what I said. This is showing you're afraid to be logical and to not compete. It's almost the exact opposite of what I was saying. Excuse me. I'm sorry. I didn't think about the context of the position. But this makes more sense this way. To be rational and to be fair and look at both sides of a argument or a situation, that's difficult for you because you feel like you're not having your voice heard. Meanwhile, they didn't want to have their voice heard at all. They already were diminishing themselves. So then there's a major conflict of interest right there, that you always felt like you needed to have your voice heard and not really willing to give ground too much. Not willing to take your own emotions out of the situation. You're probably very passionate about, well, this is what I want and these are my desires. And then over here, they're just like, okay, that's fine, because they don't want to put themselves out there. With the Eight of Wands reversed, taking things more slowly or refusal to communicate is kind of interesting. It's like what do I want to say on that? I'm drawing a blank. Maybe they didn't know how to think about themselves, like self-context. They didn't have a good sense of self. They didn't have a strong sense of self. Okay, that's it. Now, how did you see them? Sagittarius Venus, how did you see them? I mean, yeah, Ten of Swords. I think you saw them as pretty weak, passionate, perhaps, when it came to, sex, probably. But at the end of the day, like self-sabotaging could even be like sexual addiction or something weird going on with sex. But with the Ten of Swords reverse, you kind of saw them as maybe even having addictive tendencies or having anger issues, overly critical and judgmental, coming from a place of fear, of a lack of control. How did they see you? How did Sagittarius, this Venus person, see them? King of Cups, emotionally supportive and strong. How else did they see Sagittarius Venus? Tower, Seven of Cups. I mean, anytime, they see that you created a lot of your own drama by just being like delusional, okay? Or confused. So the tower moments, right? It's like all of a sudden it's like, oh, shit's hitting the fan. Sagittarius Venus is flipping out again. What the fuck? They're delusional. They don't have a hold on reality. Seven of Cups. And then with the Magician, it's like they did it to themselves. They're making their own selves crazy over this shit. And like, willing to take a step back and breathe and be logical, you're afraid of doing that. I think that there's energy around like you wanting to do that at times, but then you stop yourself because you're like, but my voice needs to be heard. I feel passionate about this. I need to fucking make a big deal about this because I feel like my life is falling apart, and the emotions around it, you don't understand why. So then your ex is just like, why? It's not that big of a deal. Quit freaking out. Let's just think rationally. Everything's fine. And you're like, no, I feel powerfully about the situation and I'm going to fucking speak on it right now. Okay. How could you have better supported them? How could Sagittarius Venus have better supported their person? The Chariot and Two of Pentacles reversed. I mean, take action and take control when things are unbalanced. I think that maybe they suffered from anxiety. Certainly with all of this, there's a lot of self-repression, ego repression, desire repression. And then that can paralyze someone out of action, right? Where they're like, I don't know, I just can't make any decisions. Wands is a very decision-making energy. Fire is a decision-making energy. You could have supported them better with the Chariot, taking action, taking the reins to bring things that are out of control into control. And this I feel like this even applies to yourself, where it's like when things are heavily unbalanced or unfair, like let's say, someone's working too much and someone's not working at all, or someone is very distraught and upset and the other person's like fine. It would have been more helpful if you could have taken charge in the situation to bring that into a greater balance, where it's like, you're working too much, I'm going to pick up the slack, or vice versa. I'm working too much, so I'm going to take some time off, which means that we're going to need some more money coming in, or like, hey, just letting you know, or whatever. But that would be taking charge to right unbalanced situations wherever they may occur, but definitely with the Pentacles, things that are very tangible, like money and work and everyday minutia of life's details. So how could Sagittarius' Venus's person better supported them? More positive emotional messaging. Emperor reverse, the Sun. They, in terms of being more helpful, I think they needed to have a more positive take on your willingness to take control, or their own willingness to take control, someone's willingness to take control for sure. As long as the goal is mutual happiness, I don't want to say the ends justify the means, but with the Emperor reverse, it's like definitely if someone's disempowered, that needs to be had a light shine on it, light shown on it. It just feels like they kind of put their own disempowerment aside, when I think you would have been really encouraging for them to come into that empowerment. I want to get some clarifiers on that one stuff. Clarify how Sagittarius Venus' person could have helped them more. Yeah, Libra, the bomb, the house, and the family. Libra definitely mean equality and fairness. Bomb, destruction and liberation. Tower, moment, unforeseen change. The house, stability, current or new residence relating to home life. So at 134, family, dealing with family members. Maybe there were some daddy issues with this person, that kind of just kept coming up, with the family and the home. Some things that would set them off with the Emperor, where when you were taking charge and you were being when you were taking charge and being assertive and standing in your power or in your ego, which is not necessarily a bad thing, right? They kind of regressed with the Six of Cups. I think this is something that is a habitual thing for them to do. Regressed into equating that with a traumatized vision of what power and authority means to them. And that would bring up a lot of drama and trauma in the situation, because they they needed to have more of a positive outlook and positive alignment with power and someone who is in a state of empowerment. You could have shown them, and they could have shown you, you know, that it's healthy to stand in your power, but this is all just like major issues with them around empowerment and ego. And anytime that you displayed that, they're immediately like, no, bad. Like, you should be limiting yourself like I do. You should be, you know, like emotionally flagellating, emotionally self-flagellating. Yeah. If they could have healed and shown a more positive messaging towards that, or even just shed light on it. Like with the Princess of Cups, that's a emotional communication in a positive way. And with the Sun, that's shedding light. If they could have come to you and said, listen, I have trauma about my father or you know, some other authority figure that was really like domineering and harsh and a narcissist or whatever, right? And that is where I have issues with people being controlling and dominating and this and that. And just if they could have just talked to you about that and talked to you about their home life, their family, their background, there could have been a greater understanding of like there's a healthy version of that energy as well, and it's very necessary. In fact, you're actually suppressing it in yourself, and like some progress could have been made there. What did you learn from this relationship, Sagittarius Venus? Two of Swords, the Devil reversed. Okay. You learned that it's the only way to get yourself out of the negative, habitual, like toxic connections and habits and behaviors and bad decisions and all of that is to wait. Wait. It's to pause, take a pause, hold on, like wait. And wait for more information to come in. And this is also another symbol of the King of Swords. King of Swords is like a judge or a scientist. You're waiting to gather all information. You're waiting to read the entire, you know, course records and find out everything that you need to know before you make a decision, before you come to a conclusion. And I find that from this relationship, you can look at the ways that you behaved where you immediately jumped into action or jumped to a conclusion, and how that actually just perpetuated a lot of the things that you want to release yourself from. And so by waiting until you have all the, you're not ever going to get all the information, but I don't think you're at risk of waiting forever. If you wait a little bit longer to gain more relevant information before you speak or before you act, before you come to a final conclusion, we can't help as humans to jump to conclusions as a subconscious, like, oh, you know, this is my intuition on the situation, right? But still leave that open for adjustment and negotiation and change. We leave that open before once you act or speak, it's like, okay, well, now that's already been said. Fuck, you know, now I sound stupid as fuck for going back on this when I didn't like pay attention to the fact that this was your fears and not what you were trying to do, right? Like it's too late, you know, like now you're like, oh, this bitch don't know what the fuck she's doing or talking about, right? So if you're still here, then hopefully that that was sort of like a mirror for you to see how other people could be seeing you, right? It's like, well, you already spoke and now you're saying, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't know, or like I realized this later, but it's like it's too late. You know, you should have waited to speak or to act until you had more information. Now you just sound stupid. I'm being hard as fuck on y'all. I apologize. I'm trying to help. What did they learn from this relationship? Let They learned a lot. What did they learn? Oh, they learned a lot. Ten of Cups reverse, that they do have a lot of family trauma that they've been hiding from. Justice reverse, that life's not fair. And the Moon, that there's a lot that they have been hiding from, that they're afraid of. This was huge for them. This was a very pivotal, like, transformative relationship for them. And I'm getting the Ten of Pentacles on the bottom of the deck. It healed a lot of family trauma for them. It exposed it at the very least. And if you are looking at your ex right now and they're doing really well, you can pat yourself on the back. It was thanks to y'all's relationship that they were able to heal and move on from a lot of things. It is a shame that y'all weren't able to do it together. I absolutely understand. But I think if they understood, and they may, I don't know, depends, I guess, but if they understood how your example showed them and that interaction showed them how much needed to be cleaned up and healed, they would thank you. But that's not really the point. The point is, what are you releasing right now? What is Sagittarius Venus releasing so that they can move forward to good relationships? Three of Pentacles and Six of Swords reversed. Oh, I'm gonna pull a little clarifier to see what it is that you're mastering. Well, this is a roadway and then balloons. 85 and 138. Fragility of life, celebration of milestone life event. Heard. Okay. Empty road, feeling lost, desolation, and alone. Oh. I think that in terms of what you're letting go of, you're not quite there to the point of celebrating that you've healed from this, okay? Which is why this showed up. But with the world reversed, it's on its way, where there will be a celebration of this entire experience for you, because it will have given you a new higher understanding of something. And I want to find out what that something is. What was being alone meant to show Sagittarius Venus about themselves? No. What was... Sometimes I do that. I'm sorry. If I don't feel like it's the right one, then I'm going to fucking put it back. I try not to, but if it's too soon, I'm saying no. I want to make sure I focus on the question and get you the right card. What was Sagittarius Venus learning through their experience of being alone and feeling unloved? What are they learning about themselves? Take responsibility for your choices. This is your life to live. Own it. Okay. And I think ultimately this is a card of choices with the Devil here. Excuse me, I'm still kind of getting over a sickness here. Take responsibility for your choices. I think that learning how to pause and take in more information will help you make better ones, help you make better choices. This was a person who was damaged, okay? They were damaged goods, more so than I think you were. I do think there was some issues that you needed to clean up here with expecting the worst, because maybe you've been through a lot of relationships. Maybe this has been a repeating pattern with you. But I think that the signs were probably there with this person. And because you flew into the situation and maybe you fall in love fast, I don't know, but and maybe it's just you're afraid to be alone, or you just saw like what seemed like an opportunity and ran towards it. But it is your responsibility to pause and gather more information, to use your intuition. if you see red flags and things like that, things that kind of are like, I don't know, but then you're like, oh, but I really want this to work. That's a fucking problem. Oh, but I really want this to work. And if it's right at the beginning, you know, that's your opportunity to say, is it just because I really want this to work? Am I reading into this too much? I got this feeling, this gut feeling for a reason. I need to honor it. I need to trust it. I need to wait and gather more information before I throw myself headfirst into a situation. I think you're too willing to give up what you've worked hard for. All for a shot at love. You know, if you're like, this is my chance at love, so I'm gonna, you know, quit my job, move across the country, or I'm going to move in with this person, and then like whatever. Now I'm gonna sign a lease with them, and that could ruin my credit, but I'm not gonna think about that. And that's, I understand that, because I think that you're saying that you put a very very high value and importance on love and relationships, and that's okay. But that needs some moderation with putting a very high value on the things that you fucking worked for, and qualities about yourself that are very lovable and very stable, not worth throwing in the trash just for a shot at love with some random that you're reading into, you know, the situation. What did they release as a result of this relationship? What did Sagittarius Venus, this person, release as a result of this relationship? Or what are they releasing, I suppose? What are they releasing? Some traditional values. Wow, I'm getting lots of major arcana for them. This was such a pivotal relationship for them. Like, if you're seeing them be totally different, it's because you really, really changed them. I think that they really thought you were everything to them, but I think they also thought maybe they were too traditionally minded for you. Going forward, they may have released some of their traditional ideas about if you're a woman, femininity, motherhood, and what a woman's role is in a relationship and things like that. But also what it means to be nurturing and compassionate. And if they're a woman, they release some of their own traditional views about womanhood and what it means. I think that they became a lot more even-tempered and open. Okay. Let's get, actually, I want to do this. In the Shadows Oracle cards, what would Sagittarius's Venus, I've been waiting for this. What would Sagittarius Venus, that's so hard to say, but y'all, my guys know what I mean. What would their person say to them if they could? What would their person say to them? What's in the shadows? Let's get some messages for what would their person say to them about their relationship, their inner thoughts and feelings. Okay. I don't know how to let you go. They definitely thought very highly of you. But I think this was all just too chaotic. You did not break me. Yeah, you made them very, very strong, actually. I don't really know you. I took the easy way out. Okay. Yeah, I don't really know you. Why do they feel like they don't really know Sagittarius Venus? The snowflake. 19 or 61, I don't know. Yeah, one of a kind, crystalline, and cold. They've never met anyone like you, never been in a relationship with anyone like you before. And I think that there's an aspect of yourself that didn't let them in, um, because you were very passionately defending your emotions of the moment, even though those emotions may have been just really passing, but you didn't really feel it that way. It felt very powerful and important to you. And they would have really liked to see from you more vulnerability and more of a willingness to talk about where those emotions came from, or how your emotions may not really speak accurately for your desires, and there might be some confusion and muddlement there. Like, I don't feel like they probably properly ever really told you that they felt like you wouldn't let them in. What else does Sagittarius Venus's person want to tell them? You were the best thing in my life. I left when I saw you with someone. I'm so attracted to you. We will be together again. They have not, they still are holding the candle for you, even if they're with another person. That's their thoughts, feelings, and opinions as of right now. When you're seeing this reading, does not necessarily mean that's going to for sure happen. But that's in their heart. They do think that somehow y'all will be back together again, which is crazy work. I left when I saw you as someone. You know, this card, when I've been getting this in readings lately, it could mean different things to different people, so you're gonna have to take it for how it relates to your life. But one aspect of what this could mean is, when a lot of times in relationships we get so entangled with that other person that we don't really see them objectively anymore, and vice versa, right? When we see them treat another person some kind of way, that can really be revealing to how they've been treating us. And so your person may have seen you interact with another person in a way that they like, especially if there's like, you know, you're getting all in your emotions and you don't know what's going on, or you think you have the right way of it, but you haven't gotten all the information yet. And so you're blowing up. And they saw you do that with someone else, and it did a light bulb. It was definitely a light turned on for them about how this pattern had was working with you. Yeah. You definitely have a lot of virtues. I'm not here to trash on you, Sagittarius Venus. I'm here to tell you to take responsibility for how shit went down, because I don't really think, you know, fated to be alone with this card. I think some people I might see get this card and say it's a self-love issue. I don't know that I believe that's true with you. I feel like this is more about it's just easier to be alone. It's just easier because now I don't have to take responsibility for the things that I say, flying off the handle, not getting all the information, and just acting and talking and moving so quickly before, you know, I've really thought about the situation. So if you want love, it is possible, but it requires a level of discipline that you may not have previously tried to take a handle of. You know, even with the Chariot here and the Two of Pentacles reversed, like, you're going to keep repeating this cycle if you're not willing to control the balance of fairness in your life, of equality, and constantly pushing for your own values and freedom. That's Sagittarius Venus, right? It's like you really value freedom and your word being heard, like your voice being heard, and value your own beliefs about how things should be or what is, and that doesn't leave a lot of room for other people. And if you feel like it's just too hard, that's okay. But it's important that you understand that relationships are going to require a lot more from you, perhaps, than maybe it would require from other people, other Venus signs. They're going to have different issues that you won't have, okay? Nobody gets out of life without difficulties. But it is important for you to understand that this is your struggle and your situation, that you're going to have to listen to others and take in what they have to say, and see things from their point of view and perspective, and take the time to do that before you act. Let's get some, what is this, advice? Yeah, let's get some advice for Sagittarius Venus for their relationships going forward. Legacy's rebirth, honor history's remains to restore and breathe life into forgotten tales. The fuck does that mean? Open hearts. In vulnerability, we talk and reveal, forging deeper connections through honesty. I want to take this one too. Bound by demands, stifled by expectations, it's time to redefine limits and reclaim freedom. Legacy's rebirth. Honor history's remains. Okay, so the honor this relationship and what it taught you. Period. Okay. Honor history's remains to restore and breathe life into forgotten tales. You need to reframe the way that this shit went down so that you feel good about what you did and how it happened. You can't do better if you don't know better. And you didn't know better in the situation. Honestly, like, I will absolutely give you the benefit of the fucking doubt on that one. Because I think that people who want love genuinely try their fucking best, and you know, you can look back and be like, wow, I was such an idiot, or I made so many mistakes, or that was my fault. And I do think that there's an aspect of that you will see out of this situation. But when you reframe it as, they learned so much, they're doing so good, they're okay, I don't need to feel guilty about how I did them. And then looking at yourself, I finally realized what was holding me back all along. Now I can move forward and be healed. And I'm very grateful to that relationship showing me that finally I needed something to show me what the fuck was going on. And in vulnerability, we talk and reveal, forging deeper connections through honesty. Being open and honest with them would have taken you a lot further along in the relationship, where maybe some things could have healed. I don't know. I'm not a person that like looks at the coulda, woulda, shouldas for the purposes of like wishing about it and dreaming about it and living in the past. But I do think it's important to look at how things may have played out differently, and in a hopeful way to try that again with the next opportunity. Bound by demands, stifled by expectations, it's time to redefine limits and reclaim freedom. Time to redefine limits and reclaim freedom. You've put some expectations on yourself as to being fated to be alone, that relationships are too hard, you're no good at it, you're not capable of connecting on a deep level with someone. You have the freedom to do something, to try this again with a new person and to have a different outcome. And this is your life to live, so own it. Okay, let's get a success card, one final card for Sagittarius Venus to close us out. If you made it this far, I'm proud of you. Straight up. Because that was a rocky start. And I thank you too for trusting me to read for you. Being. You shape clay to make a vase. Its usefulness depends on its internal emptiness. Doors and windows are open to make a house. Their usefulness depends on their voids. In fact, being realized is only by non-being. So the empty parts, the open parts, the undecided parts of ourselves are just as important, if not more important, than the decided parts of ourselves. Yo, you were born as being, and you can return to that simple being in whatever moment you want. Action easily removes you from yourself. It induces you to follow goals, and along the road, you can lose yourself. You forget your true identity. You're getting wrapped up in goals. We have to get... I know somebody like this at work. I need to find a marriage partner in 4 years, or else like my life is forfeit. And that's why I'm going on a million different fucking dates. And no one is, I immediately when I see red flags, I cut them off, and this shit's fucked up, and I'm moving on immediately. And you know, they're not marriage material because I have this exact list of criteria that they're not fitting. And so attached to this ideology of how like a pre-decided decisioned already decided on like criteria for what love is and what their partner should be like, that they're not open to anything like real happening. Like love will fucking surprise the fuck out of you. You're never going to expect the person that you wind up being with is going to challenge your perceptions 100% of the time. I have never seen it go any other way. To be simply yourself is important, and to learn simply to be essential to this shit is so hard to read. And to learn simply to be is essential in order to have success in life. So practice not doing. It can help you realize yourself, your true self, know yourself, be yourself, relax in yourself, simply exist. When you have tasted a drop of that nectar, your whole life will change. When you set aside all of the thinking and ruminating and decisions that have already been made about who you are and what you want and what your plans are and where your goals are leading you and what you expect out of other people, when you let all of that fall away and you just listen to someone speak and you pause for a moment and search how you really feel and how you would really like to react beyond what you think is right or wrong. I'm going to say something fucking wild here. Right or wrong doesn't exist. It's just yes or no. And that's all I have for you, Sagittarius Venus. I wish you a lot of luck in the coming year. And if you like that and you're still here, thank you so much. Like, subscribe. I also do monthly readings for rising signs, so come back for that. And I've got other stuff that I'm working on too. And until next time, bye.